Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to share with you some tips on how to talk about your daily routine in English. Now, why do you need to learn to tell your daily routine? Because at the end of the day, it will help you in journaling, or you can record yourself telling this routine and it will improve your English. Firstly, when talking about your daily routine, it is important to use the present simple tense. This is a mistake many people do, describing it in past tense. I know that you woke up at 6 a.m. today, but you are not talking about today. You are talking about your daily routine. So use simple present tense. For example, you can say, I wake up at 7 a.m. every morning. Now let's talk about the different parts of the day. In the morning, you might say, after waking up, I brush my teeth and I take a shower. Later in the afternoon, you can mention what you do after work. For instance, after lunch, I usually take a nap or do my pending work. Moving on to evening, you can talk about your hobbies or relaxation time. You could say, in the evening, I enjoy reading books or watching my favorite TV shows. And finally, before going to bed, you might want to mention your bedtime routine if you have one. You can say something like, I usually brush my teeth, or I listen to some calming music, or I read a book before going to sleep. Remember to use transition words like then, after, or next to make your routine flow smoothly and link one sentence to the other. It's also helpful to use time expressions such as every morning or usually to indicate frequency. All these words will help you in describing your routine effectively. So let's sum it up and see an example. So now I am going to talk about my daily routine. Just listen to it carefully and try to make the changes, whatever you do, accordingly. Okay? So first, I usually wake up at 6:30 in the morning. And I know this is wrong, but the first thing I do when I wake up is I check my phone. I check how my channel is doing, basically just for around 2 or 3 minutes. Later, I get up and I freshen up. I do the basic cleaning of the kitchen and I start cooking food. I usually prepare breakfast and lunch simultaneously because both my children want different dishes for their lunch and their breakfast. And my husband carries his lunch as well. So, me and my husband together, we prepare breakfast and lunch for us. After some time, around 8 a.m., I wake my son up. He is only 4 years old, so I need to get him ready for school. Later, I give them breakfast and pack their lunch boxes. After they leave for school and my husband leaves for his office, I do some cleaning. Later, I take a shower. I pray to God. I get ready for my sessions. So, meanwhile, it is usually 11 a.m. when I start taking sessions. Between 11 and 2 p.m., I take my sessions, I answer to the mails, I do some YouTube work. Later, I have my lunch around 2 p.m. and I take a very short nap. When we sleep in the during the day, we usually call it as nap. We don't call it as sleeping, okay? So you can say that I take a nap in the afternoon. Then at 4 o'clock, my children are back from school. I provide them with some snacks. I help them with their homework. Then I do some dinner preparations. We have dinner in between 8 and 9 p.m. I take a stroll outside my home after dinner. Walking is usually when you do it as a form of exercise, when you do rigorously, when you do a brisk walk, that is called as walking. But when you're just walking around casually, it is called a stroll. I take a stroll after dinner and then I set curd. Setting curd means dahi jamana. Okay. So for the next day, I also do some basic preparation required. Like I usually soak raisins and almonds, which is kishmish and badam. For badam, we call it as almonds. The L is silent. Almonds. I put my kids to sleep. I do some editing work and I upload videos for the next day. I go to sleep around 11 or 11:30 p.m. So this is my daily routine. But there are times when I go out. So let me give you an example of how you can include that experience as well in your daily routine. For example, just assume that I go out for dinner someday. You can include it in your routine like this. Today, I just felt like going out to a restaurant to eat. I have this place in mind about which I have been hearing a lot lately. So I was craving to go to this restaurant and try out the food there. So we got ready around 7 p.m. and we went to this restaurant. Now, coming to my first impression, the ambience of the restaurant was excellent. We ordered some starters, then main course and some dessert. The food of the restaurant was delicious. The only drawback that I found was the service. The service was too slow. After ordering the food, we had to wait for almost half an hour. We were famished by the time the food was served. So, this way, you can write any different experience that you have encountered during the day. Now, for example, I went to the restaurant. So, I gave you an example of that. There might be instances when you go out shopping or you may go meet a friend. So, you can write down the experience that you had. You can write down every minute detail, like I took a taxi, or I drove the vehicle to her place, or my friend looked stunning in a red dress, or the waiter was very rude, etc. etc. Now, at the end of the day, when you tell your routine or write it down, you will definitely encounter words that you do not know. For example, now I use the word famished. What does famished mean? It means very hungry. So if you don't know what to write instead of very hungry, you could go to Google and ask. So it will give you the answer. Then you can use that word and you can write down or record that word and start using it in your speech the next time you encounter it. So writing your daily routine or recording yourself about your daily routine is the simplest thing that you can do in order to improve your English. Now that you know how to talk about your daily routine, practice it with a friend, record yourself, write it in your journal. So, this will help you gain confidence and improve your pronunciation. So, that is it for today's video. I hope you found these tips helpful. Don't forget to like this video. If you have any questions, suggestions for future videos, leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.